name-calling, and accusations. They're a dime a dozen on websites like thedirty.com. Take this post as an example. Previously an escort, now currently stripping in one of Mississauga's trashiest strip clubs. She changes boyfriends like she changes her underwear. This is cyberbullying. The most troubling thing about it? Most of it is written by teens.
Wow.
This victim of cyberbullying is 16 years old. Due to the sensitive nature of the interview, she prefers to remain anonymous.
Well, it's a very sensitive topic, and it's horrible seeing myself on there, and the rumors, the lies.
The biggest difference between regular bullying and cyberbullying is that, children used to be able to go home and escape the bullies. But now with cyberbullying and children always having, their phones or their Facebook or any of their social networking devices at their fingertips all the time, there's no escape from it.
Gil Zavloni is an internet libel lawyer. He says these cases rarely make it to court.
So in Canadian law, the question of whether an internet service provider could be responsible for the content of its users is still a relatively open and uncertain question.
Like bullying in general, cyberbullying is becoming such a big issue that in Ontario, the Premier has declared February 7th Safer Internet Day and is investing millions in awareness and education. Kids are reluctant to talk about it. But what can they do to stop the post from spreading? They can pay $25 to have the post removed, but keeping in mind that's just another way the site owners are cashing in. For many kids, they fear the damage is already done.
Rumors that I'm seeing a guy, and I've been seen making out with him and doing these acts that are just not me. Someone's playing with my life, basically. It's, I'm about to graduate and prom. I can't face these people.
But you can bite back with positive messages in the hopes that the good deletes the bad. Reporting, I'm Farah Dalla. While he's in Canada, Reza Shirazi practices his Christian faith without fear of persecution, something he'd never be able to do in his home country of Iran.
If I could practice, if I could be comfortable, if I wasn't pursued by the people, I wouldn't leave my country, I wouldn't leave my place. I had my job, I had my everything, why would I leave?
Reza Shirazi fled to Canada 2 years ago, but now his future is uncertain as he faces deportation back to Iran. Something that scares him because in the past he was beaten for his Christian beliefs.
And then they just, attacked me, and they started beat me up, and then they smashed my boxes, and then I got unconscious, and they just left.
When Reza lived in Iran, he converted from Islam to Christianity. That's not a problem here. Before converting in Iran, you can face imprisonment and even torture. That's why the Iranian community regularly takes to the streets to pressure the Canadian government to take a stronger stand on Iran.
I've watched and listened to what the leadership in the Iranian regime says, and it frightens me.
The Canadian government is sympathetic and has imposed sanctions on Iran, but Iranian Canadians say that is not enough. Sima Soher Zarahi publishes a weekly Iranian newspaper. She says there are hundreds of deportations from Canada to Iran every year, and that needs to stop.
If this government is truly frightening, which we agree it is, then certainly this is not a government that we should trust with the lives of people who came to Canada in the hopes of seeking political asylum here.
Iranian protesters agree.
We still have 2 Iranian Canadian in jail in Iran on death row. Don't send another one.
It's Canadian government's responsibility to protect these people.
Reza is understandably nervous and fears that his future window to freedom is about to close. Reporting, I'm Farah Dalla. If you think the weather is sometimes an inconvenience, imagine what it's like for these guys.
People will see us with our heavy winter coats and hats and mitts, and downstairs it'll be beautiful, but once you're up in the cold with the wind chill, it's quite a different climate up here. It's like the moon almost up here. It's cold and windy and quite a harsh environment actually to be working in.
We're up almost 30 stories high. That's 300 feet. And what's fascinating, the difference between the weather down below and up here, where it's twice as cold and 3 times as windy.
Winds are a big factor. We have things like construction cranes that can only work up to 70 kilometers an hour in winds. We have construction elevators that can work up to about 60 kilometers an hour. In those cases, due to safety, we'll have to shut down the operations of those cranes, but same respect, we can still work within the building as long as everything's safe, and we've made sure that nothing's going to blow off in high winds.
The workers here on site encounter a variety of weather on any given day, and it really depends where you are in the building. So for instance, where I'm standing, the winds are calm, but if I take a few steps just behind me, take a look at the difference. The winds are a lot more gusty, and it's also a lot colder.
We don't try and stop for any weather. We try and forecast and organize ourselves accordingly.
But when it gets to minus 20 in the winter or plus 40 in the summer, that's when McCaffrey's construction plans have to take a rain check. For the Weather Network, I'm Farah Dalla. You never know when this could happen to you. And it happens a lot. Every winter. No one knows this better than Carol Steinman.
I just was flat out here, flat on my back, and my head went back and gashed my head. And
Carol considers herself lucky to be alive.
Everybody said I was so lucky that I didn't lie there, because I don't think anybody would have seen me lying on the sidewalk.
Because of the lack of snow, slips and falls are down in southern Ontario. But in other parts of the country, they are costly and sometimes even deadly. In fact, they account for 10% of visits to the emergency room and 6% of urgent hospitalizations among the elderly. That, according to health statistics from the Grey Bruce Health Unit. Health promoter Sarah Milne says more falls can be prevented.
Do better at snow removal, so having people shovel their sidewalks and their front walkways. When you talk about individuals, what they can do is thinking about what time they're going out at, making sure they're not rushing anywhere. Even those grippers that you can put on your feet make a big difference. People who walk with canes or walkers, you can get little picks on the bottom or grips for those as well. And I think accessing public transport, taxis when you can help minimize that too.
Homeowners are responsible for clearing the sidewalks in front of their homes, but cities are responsible for clearing streets and salting after a snowstorm.
Municipalities during this winter storm event have so many hours to respond to clear the snow and ice, and that's a way of protecting municipalities from liability that arises from slip and falls or from car accidents.
For Carol, it was a lesson learned the hard way.
And that was the first time in my life that I had ever slipped and fallen on ice or anything like that. So, you know, live and learn.
For the Weather Network, I'm Farah Dalla. Thank you. Thanks so much for joining us here at the Weather Network. I'm Farah Dalla. Well, you've likely tuned in to find out what the rest of the week has in store for us weather-wise, as well as going into the long weekend. But I think I'm giving it away with my grin from ear to ear. I can tell you this much, it's looking spectacular. I'll have more details on that in just a moment, but first, I just want to recap some of the active weather videos that we shared with you in our Force of Nature segment. Wildfires are continuing to grow out of control in through parts of Arizona. In fact, the largest fire spreading to over 12,000 acres, almost tripling in size in just 24 hours. This according to officials on Wednesday. The good news, no deaths have been reported and just 3 structures have reportedly been destroyed.
Well, we're starting the weekend off with heat and humidity on Friday. Temperatures were soaring into the high 20s, even the low 30s across the Greater Toronto area. Factor in the humidity, and at one point on Friday, Toronto felt like 38 out. So it's so important to stay well hydrated. Now, luckily at the Carasaga, we have more than just water as an option to drink. Here with me is Vince, and he's a pro juicer. Vince is gonna stir up something really tropical for me to drink. What options do I have here?
Like a strawberry, pineapple, mango, banana. You can make a combination of any of the fruits, and strawberry mango is a very good one. Strawberry pineapple is another good option. And
let's do the mango strawberry. Just a taste. I'm very lucky I get to try this. Here at Carasaga, it's the 27th annual event. Over 200,000 people are expected to attend throughout the course of the weekend, and Carasaga represents 60 countries worldwide, and 26 pavilions are located in various spots across Mississauga, making this the single most largest multicultural event in Ontario. Now, while I wait for my fresh fruit drink to be prepared, I'm going to throw it back inside to you.